Brett Beer going to join me in a little bit less than an hour, talk about what's going on in the world of college football. I'm going to need him to sell me on a couple teams that everybody seems to be high on, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. Right now, let's step into the chop zone. Spinner Howland joins me here, as he does every Tuesday night, to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Jacksonville Axemen. How the heck are you, Spinner?
Yeah, good, mate. It's good to have you back in town after your jaunt up there to the mid-Atlantic area.
Yeah, I had fun. I had fun visiting the D.C. area. Like I said, it was my first time up there ever, and I hit all the big tourist spots. I feel like if I ever go back up there, I know the place or two I want to see, and then I'm just gonna go do all the local stuff. It's I'm getting off the beaten path if I ever go back up there. But the first time you go, you got to see everything that you can.
Yeah, you see all the postcard stuff. That's what I refer to it as. And you and I are very similar when we go on vacations like that. That you're there kind of almost for a reason, where you want to see everything you possibly can in the time you get. It's up early. It's let's go. Let's see stuff. You're home late. Look, I'll sleep when I get home. I'll deal with it when I get back to wherever I'm from, or get back to the work. We'll have a couple of slow days getting back into the run of things. But yeah, mate, you've done a great thing. Everything you saw up there, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's an unbelievable place.
Mate, the history is unreal. For especially even for tourists, like someone for me, everything that you learn about the United States, I think, from a foreign country, you can find in the DC, also a bit of Philadelphia and Boston, but you can find it all in that area. The war museums, the history, the presidents. Obviously, the Arlington Cemetery. So everything we know as international people that live here in the US can be found around the DC area. And even I think for Americans, you can find all those things that are right. This is kind of where it all started.
Yeah.
This is day one. And from here I can go and find out, pretty much where we went in what direction.
I'm glad you said that, because it struck me as odd while I was up there, because, look, I know why I'm there, right? Well, the idea started because USA was playing soccer in Baltimore that Saturday. It happened to be my birthday. I could go to D.C. because I've never been to D.C. and have that be my vacation this year. And so that's how it started for me. But once I was going to D.C., it was about, I want to take in as much American history, see as much of this as I possibly can as a citizen of this country. And I'm up there, and there's, the night I'm leaving my hotel, there's a family from Ethiopia that's coming into the hotel to go see D.C. I'm seeing people from France and all over Europe and in Africa and Asia. They're all over the place, and I'm watching all of them, and I'm thinking to myself,
why are they here?
What connection do they have to any of this? And I'm glad you said that, because it explains it a little bit better for me, that there is this connection that I think anyone who's been here has with that kind of history, even if they don't have it as directly as somebody like me who grew up in the country necessarily.
Oh, without a doubt. You think of the major iconic postcard images from the United States that go globally from all eras of the United States. So obviously the White House, it would have to rate in the top 5 of things that people would say, what is typically American? So, right, okay, the White House. For those that are into military history or war history, for me it would be the Iwo Jima statue. Something that is very iconic. The Arlington National Cemetery, like none other, I think, definitely in the US, and would rival some of those in Europe. I've been to some of the big cemeteries in Europe as well. It definitely rivals that in almost the ambience that the cemetery creates all by itself. Mm-hmm. And then you start looking at the initial history of the United States, the stuff that was before. There was even sort of any buildings before the White House, before the National Monument, before any of it was built there. The statue of Lincoln. It really does. There's something for every era of American history in the DC area.
Yeah.
So you can't, if you learn anything about America whatsoever from an international country, you could probably go and find something that relates to it in the DC area.
Yeah, and they're constantly building more. There was another museum that was going up. It was under construction while I was wandering through the mall. I didn't bother to go see what it was going to be. I was like, oh, it's another one. That's
something else.
That's another big building to drag kids through.
I know, and you mentioned that you did, and I think you're going to talk about it later in the show, but you mentioned the Holocaust Museum. Yeah. And I told you that when the Washington, D.C. Slayers, when they first started playing in the D.C. area, there's a field literally across the street on the mall. It's kind of that back corner of the mall, and there's a rugby field there, and that's where they would play. That would be home games. So there was a number of trips that you would get up there early, and guys knew from Jacksonville that it was there. So you'd kind of, all right, let's get to the field early. We'd like to go and take advantage of this. Let's go take a look. And mate, you can tell the rest of the story, but it's pretty tough to get motivated after you go through that museum. You go and see that, and then come out to rugby field and try and get all wound up and aggressive. Talk about a somber, humbling experience. It was...
it's something else.
Yeah, I went once. I'm like, I'm not going there before games anymore because I just can't get fired up after seeing that.
It makes you realize, like, first of all, it makes you realize how fortunate you are to be where you are.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right? And it makes you realize how heinous some people are. And it's not that everyone was heinous, but it's how manipulative people can be, and when it's in their own best interest, what people are willing to do when that crowd mentality takes over. And it's just such an ugly thing. And I can't imagine walking out, like, I walked out of it to go back to my hotel to get ready to go. The next thing I did was go see the Book of Mormon, which was weird for me, right?
There's some irony there somewhere.
So I'm going through the Holocaust Museum, and the next thing I did in the D.C. area was go see the South Park guys do a musical, right? So it was a complete contrast of things for me, too. I can't imagine walking out of there and saying I'm going to go to that field and just slobber knock somebody. Like, I can't imagine trying to get in that frame of mind.
No, it was tough. You know, you almost got to the point where, fellas, where there's no more going there before the games. Yeah. That's not on.
Right. If you guys want to walk over to the Natural History Museum,
have at it. Yep.
Right. Let's get going. Like, but we're not doing this. We're not wandering through that one again. Let's get into what's going on with the Jacksonville Axemen. That winning streak, we've been talking about it all year long. Spinner, is it alive?
Yes, mate, it does stand. Of course, everyone is aware. All the Axemen fans, our supporters, our sponsors. I think anyone in Jacksonville at this point is aware that the Jacksonville Axemen have a regular season home game win streak that dates back to 2008. We are completely through the home regular season games now. So that is a record that has stood for 7 years. So they're pretty proud of that. I think anyone that's played for the team at any stage would be very proud of it. And again, it's a testament to delivering a product to your fan base. The fans come, they pay their money, they come in. Yes, they want the team to win, but they also want to be entertained. They want to leave feeling happy, feeling good about the product that they just seen. You come, for the last 7 years, you've watched your team in Jacksonville defeat the team that's visited here, and you go home leaving going, we're better than you are. So we've delivered to our fans for 7 years in a row. So from me personally, thank you to all the fans, and congrats to the boys from this season's Jacksonville Axemen. You have kept a part of what will definitely go down in Jacksonville Axemen history as that home game win streak. 7 complete seasons now.
Yeah, and it looked like it could be in jeopardy early. The team was struggling early on in the season. Obviously dropped those first 2 on the road to get the season started before they came back home. So it looked like this could be the year where it finally slipped up a little bit, but they stiffened up after that losing streak to start the year and find themselves the playoffs are set. What kind of matchups do we have to look forward to over the next couple of weeks? They
are. Look, the Axemen, and talk about slipping away. The Warriors got up this weekend here in Jacksonville, and I honestly was sitting there for a while thinking, okay, it's over. The record's going to fall. But the Axemen did get up and win. It takes them into 3rd place in the Southern Conference, which means that they match up with the Central Florida Warriors again in the first round. However, the game will be in DeLand. Tampa went up to Atlanta, and they didn't get the job done up there. Again, I heard it was a tough contest, close game. So the irony of having the conference so close that all 4 teams match up again. Tampa gets to go back to Atlanta this coming weekend on July 25th. They'll be up there to see if they can get a win, and a win there puts them through to the Southern Conference Championship game. The following weekend, the Axemen head down to DeLand, and they take on the Warriors again to see if they get back-to-back wins. Obviously one here in Jacksonville and then hopefully one down in DeLand. The winner of those 2 games will be back in Jacksonville on the 15th of August. The Southern Conference Championship game will be here at UNF. And of course, the winner of that game heads into the National Championship. which is on August 29th. And like I told you a couple of weeks ago with a nod and a wink, we do have a winning city, and you're sitting in it. So, mate, August 29th, National Championship will be here in Jacksonville. We'll keep everyone updated on that, of course, as tickets become available and the teams, the winner from the Southern Conference and the Northern Conference will match up. Mate, overall, it was the fan base, I think, that won out for Jacksonville. All the members of the board of USA Rugby League experienced the support from the fan base and the sponsors here last year. And it was fantastic to see that support show through in the voting to give Jacksonville the nod on hosting again back-to-back years. So,
yeah, that's cool. So they'll be back for the USA Rugby League National Championship. That'll be on August 29th. Obviously, a lot to be decided between now and then. Is there a reason that the playoff is staggered between these two weekends?
Yeah, there is, and to be quite honest, mate, it's venue availability. That all of our teams play in venues that are used for other sports. Obviously, in Atlanta, we use Silverback Stadium up there, so the Silverbacks own their venue, and it's a great little venue, but we have to work around their schedule to make sure that we're playing games when they don't have home games. In the same story in DeLand, and obviously here at UNF, there are some pretty big events coming into UNF recently. I know that I think they have the Special Olympics coming up either next weekend or the weekend after. It's going to be a massive event for the city. So we are up in Atlanta this coming weekend, and then down in DeLand, obviously, on August 1st. UNF opens up for us on the 15th, which was perfect for the Southern Conference Championship game, and then again on the 29th. So, mate, as a pioneering sport, as a developing sport in the United States, we have to work around the people that are playing dominant sports in their venues. So
Sure.
We're happy to work with them, and if you can give them 2 or 3 weeks leniency on when you may need games or may have to play, especially in this case, playoffs, in most cases, they're more than happy to work with you.
So we'll be able to preview the Axemen before the Central Florida game next week when you join me here in the studio. But Tampa, Atlanta this weekend, quickly, what can we expect between those two?
From everything I've heard, both teams are going to be at full strength, which is good. I know that the Tampa Mayhem did travel last weekend, not at full strength. They get a couple of players back that did have some injuries that put them out for a week. So, mate, I expect somewhat of a torrid affair, and I expect the game to be extremely tight to the point where we do have an official, a game referee coming down from the Northern Conference to make sure that everything is completely independent. He'll have his hands full, I'm sure. I don't want to go into too many details for fear of someone giving me a call and ask me more details, but I am aware that there was somewhat of a spirited scuffle at the end of the game in Atlanta last weekend. So apparently no real damage was done, so there was nothing to report there, I think, from an official standpoint. But it did almost get to the point where it boiled over. So you go back there again, the same town, same city, same time. It was incredibly hot. They have the artificial turf with the black tire rubber in it up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Field playing at 3:00 in the afternoon for kickoff in Atlanta. So you're in the south on a field like that. Field temperature is definitely in excess of triple digits. So
Sure.
Tempers flare, you know how it goes, mate. But of course, that's what the fans want. They love a bit of push and shove, and they got plenty of that on the weekend. So Tampa is very determined, and Atlanta is looking for their first, well, both teams are looking for their first appearance in the Southern Championship. Last year it was the Axemen and the Warriors, so there will definitely be one new team in the Southern Division going in for that conference championship game on August 15th. So,
Yeah.
mate, they're all fired up. There's plenty of chat going on amongst the teams at the moment.
And rinse repeat between those two after they played last weekend, so they'll do it again this weekend. We've been talking about the national team the last couple of weeks. I still don't think we can make any announcements as far as what's going on with them. But an announcement we can make is we do know who the uniform provider is going to be for the USA Rugby League national team, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. USA Rugby League did get a deal done with BLK Sports. So, mate, it was, and BLK, for those that don't know, stands for Beyond Limits Known. They're a massive global provider of rugby and other sports, uniforms and playing attire, based out of Australia. There's a number of professional teams in Australia, the UK, and around the world playing in their gear, and they now are the official partner for the USA Rugby League their national squad, the USA Hawks. So again, a globally known brand to attach to the national team of the United States.
You haven't got a peek at them yet, have you? Any ideas, concepts, anything like that?
Yeah, mate, I have had a peek, to be honest. I have, being on the board of directors does come with a couple of perks. I have seen what looks like is going to be the final design of not only the jerseys, but also the shorts, the tank tops, the off-field attire as well for the guys and the USA national team coaching staff. And I'll tell you what, they're pretty sharp looking. They may rival some of the best teams in the world. The US, again, going above and beyond about how they promote and how they get behind the patriotism of their sporting teams. It's a pretty sharp-looking gear. I got to admit, I kind of wish take 10 years off here and I might have a crack myself just to get a jersey.
Right.
Yeah, mate, no, we're super excited about that. It is a great partnership from a truly global brand for the national team to be a part of.
I know one more piece of news to get to here. We often have different teams from around the world that have been cool enough to kind of train in this area. For the last couple of years, we've had different teams that tour through this area. They'll play games. There's been some friendlies, that kind of stuff that has gone on over there at UNF over the course of the last handful of years. I know we got some news to report in that area once again for Axemen and Rugby fans here in Northeast Florida.
Oh, mate, without a doubt. Back in 2011, when we hosted the Atlantic Cup here, the UK police team joined us, the British police, and they were not only a hit during the event, and they did actually win the Atlantic Cup that year, but they were a fantastic ambassador, not only for the sport, but for Britain. They did a bunch of stuff with their mascot down at some local hospitals. They did some stuff at some schools. And they were overall one of the more fun teams that we'd had. I know they had the fans singing songs at games, singing songs at the post-game meet and greet down at timeout. They're coming back to Florida. They have chosen to go down to Daytona Beach. They will arrive in November. They'll be here for just over 2 weeks in the Daytona Beach area having their annual training camp. But it looks like they will come up to Jacksonville and play a game up here because I know our fans absolutely love those guys. They were so welcoming. They were extremely social. For them, yes, it was a serious, obviously being here for training, a very serious trip. But they also relaxed and loosened up quite a bit with the fans after the games. And I know that a number of the Axemen fans ask me all the time, are the British police coming back? The guys in the UK, they were so much fun. So absolutely, they will be back in Florida late in November.
Are they league or union?
No, they are a league team.
Okay.
Yep, all the teams we bring in are league teams. Mate, but it's fantastic that rugby in general really seems to be taking a boost at the moment, and especially in the southeast and a little bit here in Florida. We're starting to hear some rumours of some venues being built. A couple of guys investing. I know over on the west coast of Florida, there's a guy got some youth rugby going where he now has got some investors together to put together a rugby-specific venue. So, mate, the game is slowly getting a little bit of a foothold in the sporting landscape. So we're super excited to be a part of it, in what we do here, not only in Jacksonville, but throughout the southeast. And all four teams, mate, they're all pushing forward here. Fan bases are increasing. Number of fans coming to games are increasing. So overall, things have definitely been a great 2015 season.
No, they have. And as we enter into the playoffs, again, we'll be able to preview what's going on with the Jacksonville Axemen as they take on Central Florida, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we'll talk about them, get you ready for their playoff action next week. And that's obviously within driving distance. So if there are Axemen fans in the area that want to make the drive, not this weekend again, but next weekend to go see their guys in action in the playoffs, they certainly can, and hopefully that means that they'll be playing that Southern Conference Championship game right here in Jacksonville on August 15th. Whoever's in it's playing here, we hope that it's going to wind up being the Jacksonville Axemen. All right, Spinner.
Well, mate, without a doubt, there's already groups on Facebook doing the tailgate. Let's tailgate the land trip, making a roadie out of it.
Sweet, you oughta, man. If you've been out there every week for the Axemen, why wouldn't you? Make that trip. It's not a long trip to go see your boys in action right there, the Jacksonville Axemen. All right, Spinner, man, we'll talk to you again next week, bud.
Thanks, mate.
All right, he is Spinner Howland. This has been the Chop Zone here on a Fat Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM. He'll be back with me next Tuesday night again. We'll preview what's going on with the Jacksonville Axemen in the playoffs. We'll know who the opponent for whoever wins that game between them and Central Florida is going to be by the time we're on air next week here for the Chop Zone again. I did see Ant-Man earlier today.
How was it? Go on, tell me.
It was. I got the full review coming up next. I can tell you, it's pretty good. I'll tell you, it's pretty good.
I'm pleasantly surprised that you said that,
Yeah.
because I was very skeptical. It's Ant-Man. Okay. Go, little ant guy.
Gets the blood going, Ant-Man does. We'll talk about that as we roll along here on a Tuesday night next, here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.